Sometimes letting go isn't losing them. It's finding yourself. You see, my friends, people think strength means holding on. But sometimes the bravest thing you'll ever do is stop waiting for someone who already left your story. If that hit a nerve, good. Stay with me, because this one might just change how you see everything. Before we dive in, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's walk through this lesson together. Hey folks, imagine standing at a train station long after the last train has left. The lights are dim, the platform's empty, and you're still there, clutching a ticket that'll never be used. That's what waiting for someone who's not coming back feels like. An illusion of motion when life's already moved on. But here's the truth. Most people never say out loud, you don't need another train, you need to start walking. We've all been there, scrolling through memories like reruns of a show that ended seasons ago. We replay the good parts, skip over the red flags, and convince ourselves they'll realize what they lost. But deep down, we know. They're not thinking about us the way we're thinking about them. And that's what stings, the idea that our pain feels infinite while theirs seems invisible. You see, folks, your mind is a storyteller, and when it doesn't get answers, it writes its own, messy, painful, dramatic ones. You start thinking, maybe they're just busy. Maybe they need time. Maybe it's my fault. No, my friend, stop right there. That's not clarity talking. That's attachment dressed as hope. And hope, when it's built on denial, will keep you stuck in yesterday while your life waits for you to show up today. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your thoughts are painted with waiting, regret, and what-ifs, don't be surprised if your world starts looking grey, but the moment you decide, I'm done chasing ghosts, colour returns. That's the power of awareness. It turns pain into paint. Here's a fun little thought. Life has a wicked sense of humour. The moment you stop checking your phone for their message, that's when they'll probably text you, right when you no longer care. Because silence has its own gravitational pull. It's like gravity for regret. And nothing pulls harder than realizing the person you thought needed you actually learned how to breathe without you. And I know some of you are thinking, but what if they do come back? If they do, fine. But you won't be waiting by the door. You'll be out building the house. You'll be too busy watering your own garden to chase someone still lost in the weeds. Remember this. Love doesn't return to the same version of you it left behind. So grow so much that if they do find their way back, they won't recognize the person they once took for granted. Seneca said, "No man is crushed by misfortune unless he has first been deceived by prosperity." Translation: They couldn't break you now unless you had once believed you needed them to be whole, but you don't need anyone to complete you. You were complete before they even entered your life. Their absence didn't break you. It revealed the parts of you that were ready to rebuild stronger. So, if you're watching this with tears still drying on your cheeks, listen closely. You are not hard to love. You are just loving the wrong person too deeply. Your worth isn't measured by who stays, it's proven by how you rise when they go. Every person who leaves just clears space for peace to move in. Say this with me, I'm not waiting anymore. Drop that in the comments right now. Let the world see it. Show yourself that you mean it. And if you're ready to stop waiting, start living, and learn how to turn heartbreak into strength, press that like button, hit subscribe, and stay with me. Because what's coming next will remind you exactly who you are. Number 1. When you realize they're not coming back. The hardest truth to accept is that some people are lessons, not lifetimes. That one hits, doesn't it? Because deep down, you already feel it. The silence isn't temporary anymore. The door you kept glancing at isn't going to open, and yet your heart still whispers, maybe they'll realize, maybe they'll return. My friend, that's the lie the mind tells to avoid pain. The lie that keeps you stuck between what was and what will never be again. Imagine standing in front of a house that's already burned down, still holding a bucket of water, waiting to save it. That's what waiting for someone who's not coming back does to your spirit. You think you're protecting love, but you're really guarding ashes. The fire's over. What's left is the smoke of memories, and it's choking your peace. I know what you're thinking right now. But what if I give up too soon? What if they were just confused? What if they miss me but don't know how to say it? Those questions are hope dressed in fear, my friend. They're the mind's way of convincing you that control still exists when it doesn't. The Stoics said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." You're not suffering because they left. You're suffering because your mind keeps replaying a movie that's already ended. It's strange how we can become addicted to pain that once felt like love. You check your phone, hoping to see their name pop up, knowing deep down it won't. You scroll through their social media, pretending you're just curious, when really you're searching for signs they regret it. But every time you do, you cut the same wound open again. Waiting for someone who's moved on is like watering a dead plant. It doesn't come back to life. It just keeps you busy so you don't have to face the truth. And let's be honest, the truth hurts. Because facing it means accepting that the story you wrote in your heart doesn't have the ending you wanted. It means realizing that your love wasn't enough to make them stay. And that's a bitter pill to swallow, but here's where most people go wrong. They confuse not being chosen with not being worthy. They think if someone didn't return, it's because they lacked something. But folks, listen closely. Their absence doesn't measure your worth. It only exposes their blindness. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. And if it's not meant, don't chase it." You cannot convince someone to see your value if they need distance to remember it. You cannot build peace on the foundation of someone else's confusion. You might say, "But it's hard. I can't just stop caring overnight." Of course, it's hard. Healing isn't a switch, it's a storm. There'll be days you wake up fine and nights you fall apart over a memory. There'll be songs, smells, and streets that reopen old wounds. That's not weakness. It's human. What matters is that each time you get up, you rise with more self-respect than you had the day before. Think of it like climbing out of a cave. At first it's dark, your legs shake, your vision blurs, but step by step your eyes adjust and you realize you were never trapped by the cave. You were trapped by the fear of leaving it. And that's what letting go really means. Not pretending it never mattered, but realizing it doesn't control you anymore. They thought you'd wait forever. They thought your love was a safety net, something they could fall back into whenever they felt lost. But the moment you stop waiting, the moment you stop explaining, the power shifts. Because when someone expects your desperation and finds your detachment instead, it humbles their ego and heals your soul. You'll be tempted to text. You'll be tempted to prove you've changed, to remind them of what they lost. Don't. Let silence speak. Where words once begged, the Stoics called it apatheia, the state of calm born from self-control. That's what you're learning now, to feel everything but act from strength, not desperation. And here's a truth that might sting, but it's freeing once it lands. They might never come back, not because you weren't enough, but because your chapter in their story ended when it was meant to. And that's okay. Because your story isn't done, it's just starting to get real. So stop waiting for their return and start preparing for your rise. The version of you that begged, waited, and questioned is fading. What's being born is someone they'll never have access to again. You don't owe them a reaction. You don't owe them a second chance. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself freedom. You owe yourself the kind of stillness that makes them wonder how you manage to heal without closure. Right now, I want you to take a deep breath, lift your chin, and say this out loud. I release what's already gone. Type it in the comments. Show them, show yourself, show the world that you're not waiting anymore. Because what's coming next, my friend, isn't about them. It's about your rebirth. Stay with me. Number 2, the addiction to hope. Unrealistic hope isn't kindness to your heart. It's a slow betrayal. My friends, this is the part almost nobody wants to admit. They're not coming back. Yet your mind keeps feeding you tiny sugar packets of maybe. Maybe they're just busy. Maybe they're waiting for the right moment. Maybe if you post the right story, play the right song, disappear just enough, they'll feel the pull and return. That isn't a strategy. That's withdrawal. And what you're withdrawing from isn't them. It's the drug of possibility your brain keeps dosing to avoid the sting of reality. Picture this. You're in front of a slot machine, pulling the lever again and again. Most spins give you nothing. One spin pays out a little, and suddenly you're hooked. That's intermittent reinforcement, the most addictive pattern there is. That's why a single kind text from months ago can keep you waiting for 6 more. Not because they're consistent, but because the memory of that one win tricks your nervous system into believing the next reward is due any minute. You're not in love. You're in a loop. And the loop is sneaky. It speaks in questions that sound reasonable. What if they're scared? What if I was too much? What if we were so close and I ruined it? Notice the center of every question. Your brain, would rather make you the villain than accept the truth that they are choosing not to show up. Why? Because if it's your fault, then you can fix it. That fantasy of control is softer than the cold honesty of powerlessness. Epictetus warned us, we have control only over our actions, not over outcomes. Yet the heart bargains with illusions because illusions feel warm on lonely nights. Let's break the lies cleanly. Lie 1. If I wait long enough, they'll miss me. Truth. Time doesn't create love, it amplifies patterns. If their pattern was inconsistent, time grows more distance, not more devotion. Lie 2. Silence will make them chase. Truth. If silence is a tactic, it shows. If silence is a standard, it works. The difference is who you're focused on. Lie 3. I can't move on until I know why. Truth. Reasons won't soften the loss. They'll only give the mind new angles to obsess over. Peace begins when questions end. Not because answers arrived, but because you no longer need them. I get it. The body keeps score. The phone buzzes and your stomach flips. A street corner carries their laughter. A song turns your chest to glass. This is where people break and send the text. Hey, just checking in. You're not checking in. You're checking out of your healing. Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Strength isn't never feeling the urge. Strength is refusing to feed it. Think of hope like a candle in a window, warm, gentle, comforting. But when the house you're in has already burned, that candle becomes dangerous. False hope doesn't light your path. It lures you back into the ruins. The brave thing isn't keeping the flame. The brave thing is carrying that wick to a new home and striking it. Their hope is sacred when it's pointed at your growth. Hope is harmful when it's tethered to someone who has chosen absence. Why is it so hard to let go? Because letting go isn't just losing a person. It's losing the future you kept replaying in your head. You aren't grieving a relationship. You're grieving a movie you directed, produced, and starred in without noticing the other lead walked off set a long time ago. Seneca reminded us, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. The pain you feel at 2 a.m. isn't only the loss of them. It's the death of scenes that never got filmed. So what do you do with hands that keep reaching for a door that stays locked? You retrain the reach. Every time you want to check their page, check your breath. Every time you want to send a message, send yourself to the gym, the page of a journal, the calm of a walk. Replace the variable reward with visible reward. Replace, did they think of me, with, did I keep the promise I made to myself today? Discipline is the bridge that carries you out of the loop. Identity is the road that keeps you out. Here's a metaphor that helps. Stop looking for closure like it's an email they owe you. Closure is a door you build on your side of the wall. You don't get it from them. You assemble it from your standards, your boundaries, your routines, your refusal. Each day, you don't break your silence to fish for crumbs. You add a hinge. Each night, you choose sleep over scrolling. You add a lock. One morning, you'll realize the door is finished, and the draft that haunted your chest is gone. But what if they come back after I move on? If they do, you won't be the same. That's the point. The person they left was starving for answers. The person you're becoming is nourished by alignment, and alignment never bargains with inconsistency. If they return with clarity, consistency, humility, that's a new conversation. If they return with nostalgia, excuses, breadcrumb promises, that's an old pattern. Your healed self won't fit into clothes you outgrew. Let your absence teach what your arguments never could. Your quiet is not a trick, it's a transcript. It reads, I love myself enough to stop begging. I respect myself enough to stop chasing. I trust life enough to stop clinging. When you live like that long enough, something shifts. The hope that once chained you transforms into faith in who you are becoming, and that faith is unbreakable. Take a breath with me now. Feel the urge to check, to reach, to spin the lever one more time, and let it pass like a wave that doesn't deserve your drowning. You're not losing love, you're losing the addiction to uncertainty, and that's freedom. Type this in the comments, I choose reality. Show them, show yourself. Show the world that your hope now points inward, not backward. Stay with me. Next, we turn that reality into momentum you can feel in your bones. Number 3, the silent ego battle. We don't break on the day they leave. We break on the day our illusions won't stay. My friends, this is where the real fight happens. Not in their inbox, not on their profile, but inside your own head. When they go quiet, your ego starts narrating like a late-night radio host that never runs out of words. It tells 1,000 stories without a shred of evidence. They're scared. They're testing me. They're just overwhelmed. The mind hates a blank page, so it scribbles possibilities to avoid the truth. You don't control what they choose. and the ego would rather invent a reason that keeps you hopeful than accept a reality that sets you free. Imagine arguing with a shadow in a dark hallway. It looks like something is there until you turn the light on. That's what you're doing when you debate their silence in your head. You're shadow boxing a person who isn't even in the ring. Every maybe you entertain becomes another round you lose on points. Slowly, quietly, painfully, Seneca warned us. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. The mind is generous with suffering when it thinks suffering will keep you from letting go. Ask yourself the honest questions the ego avoids. If they wanted to understand you, wouldn't they ask? If they wanted to keep you, wouldn't they show up? If they respected your heart, would they gamble with your peace? The answers are simple, but the ego dislikes simple because simple ends the story. And your ego wants a saga, a cliffhanger, a twist, a wait and see. It isn't addicted to them. It's addicted to suspense because suspense lets it feel alive without requiring you to move on. Here's the lie that keeps looping. If I can just explain it better, they'll get it. No, if understanding required more words, your paragraphs would have saved it. What you needed wasn't a better argument. It was a clearer standard. Another lie, if I go silent, they will chase. Maybe. But if your silence is a trick, it still centers them. If your silence is the truth, it centers you. One is bait. The other is the boundary. The difference is whether your heart is still waiting at the window or finally walking out the front door. Picture your mind like a courtroom. The ego is the defense attorney for the past, dramatic, persuasive, selectively quoting memories that support its case. One sweet night, one inside joke, one I miss you from months ago offered as Exhibit A, as if a moment can testify for a pattern. But there's another side in that courtroom, the judge of your standards. The Stoics would call it reason aligned with virtue. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Your job is not to argue harder on behalf of the past. It's to rule in favor of your peace." Why is this so hard? Because silence triggers the brain's need for certainty. When we can't see the facts, we fill the frame with fantasy, and fantasies always cast us as the solution. If I say the right thing, if I wait the right amount of time, if I post the right photo, they'll come to their senses. But notice how every version leaves your worth on their desk, awaiting approval. That's not love. That's performance. Epictetus taught that freedom begins when we refuse to hand our inner state to things we can't command. Their choices are outside your command. Your focus is not. Let me give you a metaphor you won't forget. Imagine you're holding a megaphone in a silent valley, shouting explanations into the distance. Your words echo back to you, and for a moment you feel heard. But it's just your own voice returning. That is what texting paragraphs into a void does. It creates self-echoes that soothe for an hour and starve you for a week. Better to put the megaphone down and listen to the wind that's trying to move you forward. So how do you win this battle without throwing a single punch? First, you strip the mind of privileges it hasn't earned. No more rereading old chats looking for hidden meaning. No more late-night profile refreshes. No more rehearsing speeches for a stage they never promised you. Replace speculation with sensation. Breathe, stretch, lift, write. Put your body in the present so your mind can't keep renting rooms in the past. Second, you honor the evidence. Did they follow through? Did they protect your heart? Did they make an effort without being prompted? Evidence is boring, yes, but peace is built on boring truths, not thrilling fantasies. Third, you practice heroic restraint, not passive silence that sulks, but active silence that selects. You don't speak because your values are already speaking. You don't chase because your standards are already walking. Let your absence deliver the lecture your words never could. Remember Zeno's wisdom. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we may listen more and speak less. Listen to what their silence says about alignment. Listen to what your body says after you stop negotiating with it to endure disrespect. And when fear slinks in, what if I never find someone like them? Answer it with the truth. You won't. You will find someone different because you are becoming someone different. The person you are building cannot be matched by the patterns you once tolerated. Loss isn't the end of your value, it's the end of your vacancy. When one guest trashes the room, you don't beg them to stay, you renovate and raise the rate. This is the quiet revolution. You stop trading your boundaries for breadcrumbs. You stop trying to be chosen by the very standards that wounded you. You stop asking for clarity from a mouth that's already told you the truth through its silence. In that stillness, your ego will scream because it cannot control a future where you are free. Let it scream. It will tire. It always does. Breathe. Lift your chin. You are not chasing a ghost down a hallway anymore. You are stepping into daylight, where things that are real don't need chasing. Things that are real meet you halfway. And you, my friend, are done walking the whole distance alone. Type this in the comments. I choose clarity. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world that your mind no longer argues with shadows. Stay with me. The next part turns this clarity into choices that rebuild your life from the ground up. Number 4. The power of acceptance. Acceptance isn't surrender, it's choosing reality over fantasy, so your strength has somewhere solid to stand. My friends, acceptance is the moment the storm stops owning you. Not because the clouds vanish, but because you finally step into the calm center and stop running in circles with the wind. People think acceptance means giving up on love, on hope, on possibility. No. Acceptance means you stop negotiating with what has already answered you. As Epictetus taught, we find peace when our desires and reality stop wrestling. When they go one way and you go another, it hurts. But pretending you share a road when you don't, that's what breaks you. Picture a river. The more you fight the current, the more exhausted you become. Acceptance is not drowning, it's rolling onto your back, trusting the water to carry you to a shore you couldn't see from panic. When you accept, you don't shrink, you shift. You move from trying to change them to changing the only thing you ever truly owned: your response, your routine, your respect. I know the questions that try to keep you stuck. What if I misread them? What if they just need time? What if letting go is the mistake that costs me everything? Notice how each question holds you hostage to a future that doesn't exist. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Acceptance is you taking that power back from a door that won't open. You stop waiting at thresholds and start building houses. Let's break the lies cleanly. Lie 1. Accepting means I didn't love deeply. Truth. Acceptance is what people do when they loved deeply and choose not to self-destruct. Lie 2. If I accept, the story is over. Truth. Acceptance doesn't end your story. It edits out the chapter that was writing you into a corner. Lie 3. Acceptance means they win. Truth. Nobody wins when you bleed. Acceptance is you calling the fight to protect your life. Think of a wound. If you keep touching it, it doesn't heal faster, it inflames. Acceptance is like the disinfectant that stings now, but saves the skin. You stop reopening the cut with late-night scrolls and just checking messages. You protect it with boundaries, no contact that sets you back, no fantasies that override evidence, no deals with your dignity. Each day you accept, the tissue of your peace knits tighter. It's not dramatic, but it's durable. Why is acceptance so hard? Because it buries a future you rehearsed 1,000 times. You're not only grieving a person, you're grieving a timeline, the trips you imagined, the mornings you pictured, the holidays you saved in your head. Acceptance feels like theft until you realize this. Reality did not steal your future. Illusion did. The moment you accept, you repossess your time. You redirect the energy that fed uncertainty into choices that actually change your life. Here's a metaphor to keep. Be a thermostat, not a thermometer. A thermometer reacts to the environment, a thermostat sets it. Acceptance moves you from reacting to what they do to setting the climate of your own days. You decide, gym or scroll, book or browser, meal prep or emotional snacking, calls that lift you or conversations that drain you. This is where acceptance becomes muscle, not just mindset. Your calendar starts telling the truth your heart is learning. But what if they come back after I accept? If they do, acceptance is exactly what you want to be holding, because acceptance doesn't harden you, it clarifies you. You won't meet them with begging or anger, you'll meet them with standards. Clarity asks, are your actions aligned now? Is your consistency real? Are we both choosing, or am I carrying? Acceptance gives you the calm to evaluate, not the chaos to cling. If they've grown, you'll see it. If they haven't, you won't fall for echoes. Let your acceptance speak where arguments failed. Your silence becomes a mirror, and mirrors are honest, not cruel, honest. They show you who you are becoming without the distortion of chasing. And here's the quiet miracle. As you accept, your life stops waiting and starts widening. New friendships feel lighter, work feels cleaner. Even your room looks different because you finally put things back where they belong, including yourself. You'll still have flare-ups. A song, a street, a scent. Memory is a patient artist. Let the painting come, look at it, and then set it down. Don't burn it, don't worship it. Just let it be a picture from another room in a house you no longer live in. Acceptance does not erase your past. It releases your present. Zeno reminded us, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we may listen more and speak less. Acceptance teaches you to listen, to reality, to your body, to the signals you dismissed when love felt louder than truth. Listen to the relief that arrives when you stop checking your phone. Listen to the steadiness that returns when you keep promises to yourself. Listen to how your breath lengthens when the story you tell finally matches the life you live. My friends, lift your chin. This is not the end. This is the edit that makes the next chapter readable. They may never come back, and that's all right. You are not the understudy of your own life, waiting for someone else to enter so the scene can begin. You are the writer, the actor, the director, and acceptance is your cue to step into the light. Say it with me, out loud, and type it in the comments. I choose acceptance. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world that your peace no longer begs. Stay with me. Next, we'll talk about the echo your absence creates and why, when you stop waiting, that's when they finally hear the silence. Number 5. When they finally notice. the echo of absence. Nothing is louder than the space where your energy used to live. My friends, people think they'll notice you when you speak. The truth, they notice you when you stop. Your absence is a mirror they can't dodge. In the beginning, they were fine, maybe even relieved, because they expected you to circle back like a loyal planet. They thought gravity was on their side, but gravity isn't loyalty, it's momentum. And when you break the orbit, the silence you leave behind starts echoing in rooms they didn't know were empty. At first, they tell themselves stories. They're probably busy. They're just cooling off. They'll text tonight. But nights turn into mornings, mornings turn into weeks, and your phone stays quiet. That's when it starts. The checking, the scrolling, the quiet replaying of moments they dismissed while they had you. They visit your page, not to like, but to listen. They read captions like confessions, stare at photos like clues. They're not studying your face, they're measuring distance, and every inch your life moves forward without their name in it becomes a mile of regret in their mind. Imagine this, a theatre after the show. Lights off, seats empty, stage quiet. The applause they expected? Gone. Your absence is the closed curtain. That's when they remember the lines you delivered by heart, the scenes you carried when they forgot their part. Absence turns your ordinary kindness into rare art. What they shrugged off last month becomes priceless because they can't access it now. That's scarcity, not fake scarcity, the real kind that happens when a human being stops pouring. And yet here's where the fear grabs you. What if they never feel it? What if they really don't care? What if my absence is just nothing? Breathe. This is where illusions try to climb back in. The lie says, if they don't show you their regret, it doesn't exist. The truth says, regret lives privately first. It shows up at 2 a.m. when the laughter of their friends turns thin. It shows up in the song that used to be yours. It shows up in the quiet moments when nobody is watching, nobody is rating, nobody is clapping. The first place your absence hurts is inside their honesty, not on their profile. Still, they might test the waters. A like from months back. A funny story post you know is bait. A how've you been that says everything and nothing. Understand this. Curiosity is not commitment. Nostalgia is not change. And a ping is not a plan. The ego wants you to treat crumbs like bread because crumbs feel like proof. But proof of what? That they can still tug your attention? That you still stand by the window? That your boundary was only a costume? No, my friend. Let the test fail. If your silence is real, it isn't a trap for them, it's a trail for you. Why does absence teach what arguments never could? Because arguments keep them in the story as the main character. Absence rewrites the cast list. There's a moment, sometimes small, sometimes seismic, when they realize they're no longer starring in your mind. That's the crack. Through that crack, reality pours in. Nobody is chasing, nobody is debating, nobody is pleading. You didn't throw a door in their face, you stopped holding it open. That's when the echo hits. Your restraint sounds like strength. Your lack of reaction reads like respect for yourself. Your distance stops being against them and starts being for you. Let's break the lies cleanly. Lie 1. If they don't reach out, my absence means nothing. Truth, impact and action aren't twins. People can feel the earthquake and still freeze. Lie 2. If I nudge them, I'll speed up their realization. Truth. Nudging rescues their comfort, not your closure. The echo needs quiet to work. Lie 3. If they come back, it means they changed. Truth: return is not reform. Change is consistent, not convenient. Look for patterns, not paragraphs. You'll ask, why is it taking so long? Because time is the teacher of value. We don't miss water while it runs from the tap. We miss it when the well runs dry. When your attention stops flooding their day, they discover they were never swimming, they were being carried. When your understanding stops cushioning their chaos, they find out how hard the floor really was. That's not revenge. That's reality returning to its rightful place. There's a strange beauty in the echo if you're brave enough to let it continue. While they are just beginning to feel what they lost, you're just beginning to feel who you are without the weight of proving your mornings stretch. Your breath lengthens, your room looks cleaner, not because anything magical happened, but because you stopped negotiating your standards to fund somebody else's comfort. That's the dividend of distance, the return of your attention to its rightful owner. A quote to anchor you: let silence be your response to what no longer deserves your voice. It isn't apathy, it's alignment. The Stoics weren't cold, they were clear. They understood that energy is finite and dignity is fragile. You protect both by refusing to pour into what cannot hold you. Now, a metaphor to carry: your absence is a lighthouse, not a prison. Lighthouses don't chase ships. They stand in their strength, steady, visible, faithful to their purpose. Some ships return, wiser for the storm. Others pass by, still flirting with the rocks. Either way, the lighthouse does not move. That's you, now standing, not signaling, guiding, not groveling. If they finally message, you won't be the person who used to flinch at every vibration. You'll be the person who can read a text without making it a prophecy. You won't mistake interest for intention or attention for effort. You will ask better questions, not to interrogate them, but to protect you. What has changed? What are you willing to do consistently? Does this version of us honor the version of me I fought to become? If answers are fog, let them pass. If answers are steady light, you'll see it, and you'll choose, not from hunger, but from health. Lift your chin. The echo isn't for punishment, it's for perspective. It teaches them, yes, but it transforms you. You learn how much power you have when you stop auditioning for a role you already outgrew. You learn that love isn't proven by how loudly you plead, but by how quietly you protect your peace. Say this out loud and type it in the comments. I outgrew waiting. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world that your absence isn't a game, it's growth. Stay with me. Next, we'll turn that growth into daily practices that rebuild your identity from the inside out. Number 6. Rebuilding yourself in the void, where transformation begins. Rock bottom isn't the end of the road, it's the ground you finally push from. My friends, the void is real. It's the quiet after the storm, the empty room after the door closes, the silence that used to scare you because there was nothing left to fill it with. But hear me clearly. The void is not punishment. It's potential. It's the raw, honest space where your life stops being about who didn't choose you and starts being about who you choose to become. Most people run from this space because it feels like nothingness. But nothingness is where new worlds are built. Imagine a field after a forest fire. The ground looks dead, the trees are shadows, the air smells like endings. And then weeks pass, rain returns, light filters in, and the first stubborn green shoots push through black soil. That's you. The parts of you that survived the burn are the parts strong enough to rebuild everything else. You don't need what is left to grow. You need what stayed inside you when everything left. Let's be honest about the fear. You'll wake up and miss them without wanting them. You'll feel lonely in rooms full of people. You'll wonder if peace is just a word YouTubers say to make heartbreak sound pretty. That's okay. The mind is detoxing from a story it told every day. The body is unlearning the reflex to reach for your phone at 1 a.m. The heart is remembering how to beat for reasons that don't require someone else's permission. This is not weakness. This is rewiring. Give yourself permission to be new at it. Rebuilding isn't glamorous. It's not a montage with music. It's small, stubborn choices made in the quiet. Water the body, feed the mind, move the blood, keep the promise. It's the decision to lift when you'd rather lie down, to journal when you'd rather scroll, to read when you'd rather replay the past. Marcus Aurelius told us, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." Today, that means acting as the man or woman you respect before you feel like it. Discipline is not a mood, it's a message to yourself. I am safe in my own hands. Picture identity like a house you inhabit. For too long, you rented it out to their opinions and moods. Rebuilding means changing the locks. You reset the mornings. You claim your evenings. You choose who gets entry, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. The person you're becoming has different furniture. Self-respect at the center. Purpose by the window. Boundaries at the door. Guests are welcome, but nobody rearranges your living room again. You might ask, where do I even start? Start with the body, because the body is honest. Sweat is truth. A 30-minute workout tells your nervous system, we move forward here. A 10-minute walk after dinner whispers, we digest life better now. Eat like someone who plans to stay. Sleep like someone whose dreams matter. People think healing is mystical. Half of it is metabolic. When the body calms, the mind stops spiraling. When the mind steadies, the heart remembers it's not broken, it's bruised, and bruises fade. Then build the mind. Reduce the inputs that keep you spinning. Less noise, more knowledge. Trade 3 hours of doom scroll for 30 pages of a book that makes you larger. Replace the playlist that keeps you aching with quiet, that lets you think. Learn something hard enough to humble you. A language, an instrument, a trade. Humility heals because it shifts your focus from, why didn't they pick me, to, how do I pick myself up better today? Erect the boundaries you used to negotiate. No more late-night check-ins, no more decoding posts, no more revisiting memories like they're a shrine. Let the shrine go. Replace ritual with routine. Plan your day the night before, and protect the plan like you once protected their feelings. You are not cold, you are clear. Clarity is kindness to the future you. And then, purpose. Not the grand, intimidating kind that requires a stage and a slogan. Purpose can be quiet. It can be the way you care for your family without leaking resentment, the way you show up to work with integrity even when no one claps, the way you serve your community, mentor someone younger, or build something beautiful that nobody asked for but everybody needed. Seneca said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Keep preparing. Your life will start feeling lucky on purpose. Here's a metaphor to keep close. Be the lighthouse, not the lifeboat. Lifeboats exhaust themselves, trying to ferry everyone from storm to shore. Lighthouses stand firm and shine so others can steer themselves. In the void, you're learning to stand. You're learning that your presence can be guidance without becoming a rescue. You're learning the difference between love and laboring for approval. That lesson alone will save you years. Will they notice? Maybe. Will they come back? Maybe. But the point of rebuilding is that the answer stops deciding your day. If they return with clarity, consistency, and character, you'll be able to see it. If they return with chaos dressed as charm, you'll be able to leave it. The gift of the void is discernment. You're not desperate, you're discerning, you're not chasing, you're choosing. So, breathe with me. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the steady weight of your own life. You are not a collapsed story. You are a foundation being poured. The ache you feel is the room being made. The quiet you hear is space for peace to move in. You don't need closure from them to begin again. You need commitment from you. Say it out loud and type it in the comments. I rebuild now. Let it be your line in the sand. Show them, show yourself, show the world you are done renting your worth to anyone's absence. And if this spoke to you, if you're ready to turn this void into victory, like this video, subscribe to the channel and share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Your rebuild starts here, and I'm walking it with you.